Well, hi, hello, and how are you doing out there in internet land? It is I, your friend, your neighbor, your man of common sense, your companion through this internet life we live. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to Front Porch Brunch, our last live stream of the year. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Gonna have some fun this morning. Oh, indeed, sir. Yes, last show of the year. Let's make it a great one. Well, I tell you what, between the memes, the stories, and the everything else, I think we're well on our way to doing that. So strap in, folks. We're going to have a lot of fun this morning. Glad to have all you guys here with us. Again, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. I am sometimes known as the fine fella in the fedora. On occasion, I'm called the common man with common sense. But in this moment, as always, I am, above all else, your host. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So please do me some favors as always. If you're not a subscriber to this channel, please do so. Number 2. Oh, and by the way, you can subscribe on YouTube and you can subscribe on Rumble. Go ahead and subscribe to both places. It would be greatly appreciated. While you're at it, go ahead and share the link around for this live stream. Let's spread this thing out to as many people as we can. I mean, after all, 'tis the season to spread Christmas cheer, and, we're all about that. So share the link with your friends, and for today's purposes, please leave a comment in chat and also hit the thumbs up button on YouTube and on Rumble. Believe it or not, those two little actions by themselves do a whole lot to push this out into the algorithm and force Mr. Algorithm to do something nice for us, which is bring more people to the audience. And finally, hit the bell for notifications. We always want to make sure you're always aware when new material is coming out, be it videos, live streams, or what have you. Indeed, sharing is... Oh, now, wait a minute. What? You're comparing my live stream to herpes? Seriously? Oh my God. Thanks a lot, WWG1. I really appreciate that. What a Christmas gift I get from you. Gee, wow. Oh, man. Whew. Brutal. Absolutely brutal, I say. Yeesh. Man, the guy tries to bring some joy and laughter and information to people, and what does he get for it? Oh, your live stream's like herpes. Thanks a lot. No, I'm just messing with you, man. I love you. That's a good one, though. That's really good. All right. Let's see who all's in the house this morning. Well, we know WWG1 is here. We know TBA is here. Who else is among us this morning? Salty Old Fart is here. Oh my goodness, the salty one is in the house, and he's got a meme apparently. What to add this to the mix? Goodness me, hang on, I gotta find this thing Salty sent me. Okay, hang on. What is he up to? Oh, that's cute. That's cute. I like that. We're adding that. Definitely adding that to the mix. Oh, goodness me. Oh, goodness me. Let's see. Who else is here this fine morning? Good morning, you gorgeous thing, you. Mwah. Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And the others will be settling into the room. So, yeah, we're glad to have y'all here. Again, quite a few people over on Rumble, or X, I should say. Got to call it what the kids call it these days. So, yeah, quite a few of you over there on Twitter checking us out. We genuinely do appreciate it. Hey, you know what? Share the link around with your friends. Say, hey, we just found this guy. He seems kind of corny, but then again, he's kind of funny in his own corny kind of way. Let's check him out together. So, yeah, you folks over there on the X, share the link around for this live stream right now. Daggone ya, or however it is you do it. I don't know, you crazy kids. Anyway, glad to have you all here this morning with us. As I mentioned, I think earlier, a little while ago, this is our last live stream of the year. And I was thinking, I was asked by TBA about this, and he said, what's your schedule for next week? And the more I started thinking, I was like, you know what? It's Christmas week. People are going to be running around trying to prepare gifts. They're trying to be traveling. they're going to be whatever. And you know what? As much as I love the idea of doing, live streams during Christmas week, you guys have lives too. And it just seemed kind of appropriate that this be the last one for the year, and we'll pick it up in January. So, you know, everybody needs a break, and then I think appropriately so. Well, that's another consideration. Nobody's holding podcasts for Christmas week. I kind of get where they're coming from, because you know what? As much as I mean, and I'll just speak for myself. As much as I love doing this, this is not, you know, the most important thing in life. You know, that you guys have fun, that you guys spend time with your families, that you tell each other you love each other. You eat a lot of good food and fellowship and renew old bonds or strengthen current bonds. That's the most important. Okay. So yeah, we'll pick it up in 2026. And 2026 is going to be real interesting. Well, yeah, tragically we're all going to tolerate a certain amount of that this year. Or not. You can always just not watch anything. So, there you go. There you go indeed. All right. All right. Let us get down to business. And you know what? I found something, and I've known about this for a while, but why I did not make this the theme song for Front Porch Brunch, I have no idea. Because the more I kept listening to this, the more I kept thinking, this is pretty funny. Oh, good morning, my dear. Good morning. Mwah. Merry Christmas to you, my dear. And I hope you're feeling better. Hope you are feeling better indeed. Yeah, I mean, the more I kept hearing this, I was like, you know what? This is just too daggone funny. So with that, let us launch what may be, but hey, you're moving. That's the important thing, dear. You're moving. And doggone it, in this day and age, moving is better than not. So, we love you. Feel better. Hope you're getting better. And Merry Christmas to you and yours. All right. Let us play what may very well become the theme song for Front Porch Brunch. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy this. And WWG was like, what the F is this? Yeah, I mean, it kind of does. I mean, you can't, ain't no lying about that. Ain't no lying about that. Oh my goodness, yes. Oh, so that's okay. Your Christmas dinner she's singing about. Well, okay. Well, there you go. Okay, WWG1, that's entirely up to you. I am not even going to get into that discussion. Okay. You do you, dude, as the kids say these days. You do you. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. All right, let's get down. No, sir, do not feel dumber. Feel more laughter. Feel more joy. I mean, seriously. Now, if I can get this is just get the jiggle. Phew. Okay. Again, TMI, maybe. I don't know. God, y'all. Oh boy. Anyway. All right. Let us get down to the merry memes. Now, for those of you over on Twitter who maybe are new to our live stream, or you're popping in for the first time, you're like, what the heck is this nonsense? We always start this live stream off with what I call the merry memes. Those cute little funnies that we find. Some of them I find, some of them are sent to me. And we throw them into the mix because just doggone it, you need to laugh. And that sort of brings up a very interesting question. Why do we do these memes? I mean, seriously, is it just for the laughs? Is it just for the smiles? No, ladies and gentlemen, I say no. I remember the words of John Fitzgerald Kennedy during his inauguration address in 1960 on the subject of why do we meme? Well, JFK said it better than anybody else. We choose to offend leftists with memes not because it is easy, but because it is fun. Well, there you go. If JFK says we need to do memes because they're fun, daggone it, I am not arguing with a former president. And doggone it, he's absolutely right. So there you go. There you go. Okay. Why do we do the memes? because they're fun. Right on, JFK. Now, it's Christmas, obviously. It's the time of the year you're trying to find out, what do you give people? Well, Donald Trump has figured out a gift that's going to help so many people, millions of Americans. Yeah, I'm not joking about this. I'm not joking. And think about it from the president's perspective. What do you get millions of Americans that they don't already have but would love to have more of? Well, think about this. He's going to fly thousands of illegal aliens home to be with their families. If that is not one of the kindest, most generous gifts that an American president can give to everybody. I mean, think about it. Everybody benefits with this. I mean, American citizens benefit because of this, because these illegals are going home to their families. The illegals benefit because they're reunited to their family. It's a good thing. It is a good thing. Yeah, exactly. The joy of giving. If ever there was the embodiment of what that means, it is this right here. God bless President Trump. That's all I'm saying. So, yes, he is giving the gift that thousands, millions, hopefully, of illegal aliens will be flying home to be with their families this Christmas. To which I say, God bless President Donald John Trump. So there you go. There you go. Now, in the spirit of giving, it is said that greater love hath no man than this, that he would lay down his life for his friends. And it comes from the good book. Therefore, I agree with that completely. Truly. I mean, how else can you prove love? I mean, the ultimate form of love, that you would give up your life for someone you care about. That said, however, you sometimes have to question what you would be willing to go through to make that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, are you willing to do this to save your best friend? I mean, look, the end goal is noble, and may I even use the word holy. But would you be willing to go through that to save your best friend? I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. There you go. All right. What else do we have here? Now, not only is it the Christmas season, but it's the beginning of winter. And, let's just be honest about it. There are some folks are fortunate enough for various reasons to be able to get away, and they travel to warmer climate. And God bless them. I'm not mad at them. I'm a little bit jealous, but I'm not mad at them. I understand completely. I get it. I really do. I understand completely that they are able to do that. But some people, on the other hand, get really upset about this. I mean, just imagine. Well, you know what? Just let this one speak for itself. Some people get real happy when individuals cross over the border into places like Florida. Some people, on the other hand, get very, very upset. What are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do? But, again, for those that are able to make it to Florida or other places that are warm this time of the year, we raise a glass and say, good on you. Good on you. All right. What else do we have in the way of the merry memes this fine morning? Oh, speaking of the good book, we have accounts of words that were spoken at the birth of Jesus. We have the account of, his mother. We have, Joseph, the father, or I guess already stepfather, standing by with stoic silence. We have the words of the wise men. But the one thing that is not accounted for in the Bible is, the reaction of the animals. I mean, because look, I mean, everybody knows that Mary and Joseph and the babe was lying in a manger. Okay. But no one really has the reaction of the animals in the well, barn, cave-like barn, whatever you want to call it. You know, what was how did they react at the birth of Jesus? Well, some of them took it better than others. For example, we have found in a recently discovered text that a donkey made this comment at the birth of Jesus. And I think it is safe to say, ladies and gentlemen, that the donkey was not real happy. Because this kind of, this whole birth of Jesus thing kind of put a crimp in his style. Or maybe it's better to say his dinner plans. Yeah. So now we have some idea of how the animals reacted at the birth of Jesus. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. There you go. Oh. You guys know, obviously, the song "The Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer."
The sign back there says,
hold on a minute. You guys know about the sign that says "Grandma got run over by a reindeer," right? Well, you know what? You better be careful out there this holiday season, because Grandma, forget getting run over by a reindeer, Grandma might run over you. That's right, man. If you're not careful, that beautiful white-haired lady that you call your grandmama, she might be running over you. And if you don't believe me, hey, check this one out.
The sign back there says 35 and you were going 55.
I'm aware my funeral's at 4. If I'm late, my ex gets my front row seat.
Yeah, man. I mean, look. If a cop pulls over a little old lady, you might get that story. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, man. Got to watch out for Grandma. She's something else. Whee! Oh, yes. And some things, doesn't matter the time of the year, we will always pursue them to their natural course and ends. With that in mind, please enjoy the following. Yeah, you know what? Some scientific experiments, just let them go. It doesn't matter what time of the year. Just don't do it. Seriously? Oy vey. Yeah, this guy's a real winner. Now, I have to apologize right now to our dear friend and contributor to the channel, WWG1. He sent me a meme, and it's a very funny meme, by the way. But the problem is I could not get the volume to work on it. I tried everything I could think of. Nothing would work. So I found a very, 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 very similar meme that I'm using in substitution. So WWG1, if you watch this next one and it's not exactly the same as what you sent me, that's the reason. But do know that I tried with the best of intentions to give you close to what you gave me. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy a trip to Walmart with your grandma. That said, here we go.
Were you hooked up with my teacher?
You passed, didn't you?
Yeah, Grandma, when you were in prison, what did you eat?
I ate every girl in prison.
No, I mean, what kind of food did they serve?
Oh, I had lots of biscuits too. Lots of biscuits.
So, Grandma, is it true Grandpa put you in that wheelchair?
Yep, last night.
Oh, God.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, man. You look at those little old white-haired ladies that are in your life and you think they're sweet and innocent, kind, and all that good stuff. Understand this. Those women have lived and they got stories. So all I'm saying is, watch out for Grandma. She's something else. Yikes. All right, what else do we have in the way of the merry memes? Now we've come to one, and I have to thank our dear friend Gypsy for this one, because this one is just cute beyond all imagination. This one is sort of British flavored, and I think you will get quite the kick out of it, given what it is, where it is, who it is, and the season in which it is presented. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy this one as much as I did, and you can thank Gypsy for this meme. Here you go.
Why are you going home?
I got sent home for suggesting we do a nativity this year. Apparently I'm Islamophobic. Miss, where's all the Christmas lights?
Ben, that's offensive. They're winter lights.
Sod off, they're Christmas lights.
Ben, what's wrong?
Got sent to the principal for wearing a poppy. Being British is fucking offensive now.
Ben, are you excited for school?
Not really. The teacher keeps trying to teach me about India and culture, mate.
Ben, why aren't you allowed outside?
Because Labour put an illegal hotel just round the corner.
Ben, why are you in timeout?
All I said was I'm proud to be British.
Ben, who's picking you up from school? Mum or Dad?
Mum, because Dad's in jail for racist tweets.
Ben, what's for lunch?
All they sell is curry now, thanks to Labour and the illegals.
They say that out of the mouth of babes. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your proof right over here. Out of the mouth of children comes true knowledge and wisdom. Well, enjoy it, because that one is a good one. And I gotta thank Gypsy for that one. That's a cute one. Genuinely cute. Oh, what else do we have? What else do we have this fine morning? I had a couple or three more for you guys. And you know what? For all of you folks out there who use computers on a regular basis, you're going to understand this one. Yeah, well, I hope the little guy stays safe too. There you go. For all you folks out there that use computers, download files and use files and edit files and all that good stuff, you're going to appreciate this one perhaps more than anybody else. And I'll just let it speak for itself. Haven't we all been here? I ask you, have we all not been here at one time or another? I mean, seriously. Not that I'm trying to bring up negativity during the holiday season. Lord knows we don't need any of that. But yeah, this one's very relatable. Oh, yes, by all means, please do send me that. I'd like to see that. All right, what else have we got going on this morning? Now, sometimes you got to try and get into the mind of the folks that you're on the other side of politically and understand that why they think the way they do. And on the subject of illegal immigration, why is it that proponents of immigration are so hot to trot to bring in as many people to the United States as they possibly can? Well, I think I figured out what their justification is. Why are the pro-immigration people so pro-immigration? Well, you know what? Some things just are not going to take care of themselves. So, hey, at least now you understand the why. Okay? Why are they pro-immigration? Hey, it's not going to do it themselves. Yeah, buddy. All right, one more. We're going to get down to business. And this one kind of goes to the whole question of what do you get for your friends as a last-minute gift? Well, we've been highlighting these Franklin the Turtle books that have been coming out, and there have been quite a few of them recently. New editions, apparently, that are being written, and there's in certain states in America, they're selling like hotcakes. Well, the folks that write the Franklin the Turtle children's books have come out with another one. Again, I will say this: if you're looking for a last-minute gift for those individuals of a certain age group, and maybe you're trying to think to yourself, what do I get somebody? Well, here is one last option that you might want to go out and see if you can find a copy of it. Okay. Franklin watches Bill Clinton. I don't know, folks. This one kind of looks a little risque. I don't know what Bill Clinton's doing in that hot tub. That's a little bit yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. This kind of yeah. But now, as you might suspect, and yes, you're absolutely right, TBA. It is timely because we're going to get into this, and this meme kind of leads into our first subject of the morning. So before we get there, to WWG1, to TBA, to Gypsy, to salty old fart, to Adam, to everybody who contributes memes and ideas to this program, and especially given that this is the last live stream of the year. Thank you so much for everything that you do, that you have done this morning, and everything you've done over the course of the year. This show is better every time the audience participates, and everything you bring to the table, the memes, the comments, everything. And I'm not just talking about, monetary gifts or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, everything you guys do that contributes to this live stream. Thank you so much. Thank you so very, very much. And from the bottom of my heart, I truly do mean it. Without you, this show is not what it is. And, whatever good and positive it is due to the power of the people who are in this audience participating and contributing and doing the things that you do. So from the bottom of my heart, God bless each and every one of you. You guys are totally awesome. And may every one of you have a Merry Christmas with your family. All right. Let's get into our first subject of the morning. And as I indicated, that meme that we looked at is sort of the precursor to what we're going to be talking about. And thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I genuinely do appreciate that. A tip of the Santa cap to you, sir. We yesterday we had the release of the Epstein files. Now, to say the release of the Epstein files isn't quite accurate. Maybe it's better to say we had the due date for compliance by the Justice Department as mandated by the Congress and signed into law by the president. And a lot of people have been like, ooh, the Epstein files, we finally get them. We finally find out what's in them. Oh my God, the excitement. Oh my God. Yeah, you take that down a couple of 3 notches there, okay? Because, as the Gershwin brothers once sang many, many, many years ago, it ain't necessarily so. And to that end, our first article of the morning from NPR. Headline: DOJ releases Epstein files and the first batch is short on new information. Oh my goodness. Color me shocked. Imagine my surprised look. And just think, they could have had this face in Home Alone as opposed to Macaulay Culkin. Hollywood is downright discriminatory. I mean, you guys could have had all this. Instead, you went with some kid named Macaulay Culkin. Anyway, back to the headline. Article written by Stephen Fowler and Sage Miller of NPR. We have the following. Dateline, Washington, D.C. The Justice Department has released a trove of documents related to the life, death, and criminal investigation of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, including many that have already been made public from prior disclosures. Others are filled with heavy redactions. Among the new, previously unseen files released Friday were several photos of former President Bill Clinton, including one of him in a hot tub with a person whose face has been redacted. Now, wait a minute. I need to help out NPR here. Okay. We need to help out NPR. we need to clean up a line here. They said, including one of him in a hot tub with a person whose face has been redacted. No. You guys need to clarify that. That person's face was redacted because they were a victim. Let me say that again. There is one thing that was built into the law that was passed by Congress, and that is the Justice Department gets the right to redact information related to victims of Jeffrey Epstein's crime. So that really ought to read Bill Clinton in a hot tub with a victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Instead, they wrote in a hot tub with a person whose face has been redacted. Come on, NPR, you can do better than that. You know what's going on here, but you just don't want to say it. Anyway, back to the article. Another shows Clinton standing next to Epstein. Clinton is also pictured at an event with rock star Mick Jagger and a female whose face has been redacted. Some of the most sought-after information was redacted, including 119 pages of New York grand jury testimony. Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat, California, who co-sponsored the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which legally required the files to be released, expressed disappointment with the contents during an NPR interview with Mary Louise Kelly on All Things Considered Friday. Mo Khanna said the drop didn't contain the files he was looking for, stating the release seems, quote, at very best incomplete. Quote, there's a draft indictment of the first Jeffrey Epstein case that really implicates other rich and powerful men who knew about the abuse or participated in it. That indictment should be released. And for the record, I agree with Ro Khanna. I have always said, and I'm pretty sure I'm backing you guys up on this. Look, transparency is the best thing that's needed here. And if these individuals who are hanging around with Epstein are innocent, fine. But let's find out who they are. Well, exactly. Hello, good morning, Kawan, and Merry Christmas to you. How come this 119-page draft indictment was redacted so heavy? Hell, it's not even an official document. It's a draft of an indictment. Oh, it's got names in it. Well, okay, who are they? This is the whole point. Let's see it. Hold that thought, WWGO. We're going to get there. We're getting there, brother. Anyway, back to this article, and then we'll show you some more of what we got here. Quote, this is again from Ro Khanna, the congressman from California. There are witness interviews between the FBI and other people who were accused of being at Jeffrey Epstein's rape island or going to parties where there were 16 or 17-year-old girls being paraded around. Those witness memorandums need to be released. On Friday, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche suggested in an interview with Fox News that several 100,000 pages would be released on Friday with more to follow. No. Hang on. Blanche, you're required to release everything. You were required to release everything within 30 days of the date of signing of that bill into law. So the Justice Department is out of compliance. Khanna said he would like an explanation from Blanche about where the missing documents are and what the DOJ's timeline is to make them public. So yeah, there you go. They're out there. So what's out there, you might ask? Well, things like this. And for those of you, if you've had breakfast this morning, I apologize in advance. For those of you who have not had breakfast yet, I apologize for ruining your appetite. You have things like this. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There is Bubba himself, Bill Clinton, hanging out in a hot tub with a victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Good morning, my dear. Mwah. Good to see you this morning, you lovely thing, you. And he came in the room, and I didn't say hello to him when he did. Hello, sir. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you in the house. Fist bump to you, my brother. So, yeah. And again, my apologies for ruining your breakfast. Yeah, here's Bill Clinton hanging out in a hot tub with one of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Why he's laying out in such a prone position, I have no idea. Well, I do, but I don't really want to say it because this is a family-friendly live stream. Then you got another picture. Here's another one for you. There's Jeffrey. Now, we're pretty sure that is Ghislaine Maxwell in the swimming beside a Bill. And over here, another one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. The Clintons have been very, very quiet during all this hubbub about the Epstein files. Very quiet indeed. And you now begin to understand why. This is the stuff they did not want coming out under any circumstances at all. And these weren't the only items of interest. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, by the way, I said that the Clintons have been very quiet about all this. Yeah, really. I know it's not of what you speaketh, Kawan. My goodness. Yeah, boy. Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Well, not before, however, Bill Clinton did make a statement to the press about this, and I hope you guys have seen this. But if you haven't, here's Bill Clinton's reaction to the items that were released on Friday. Check it out.
Democrats thought they could finally get Trump with the Epstein files. But instead, all they got was pictures of you, buck naked in the jacuzzi with some girls. Aren't you afraid of being arrested?
Well, to be honest, I'm more afraid of that crazy bitch waiting for me back home. I'm not going back. That bitch kills people. She even killed Jeffrey. Fuck that. Are you single? Can I stay at your place?
Okay, let's just slow down a bit.
Yeah, really. Let's definitely slow down a bit because, woo! Yeah, so he's not afraid of what's coming out. He's like, you're not wrong there. Yeah, so Bill has spoken, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, we've heard from the former president. He's not scared of what's being disclosed. He's more scared of Hillary. And frankly, given her track record, you understand why. Mm-hmm. Look, Bill is always going to be a player, okay? Look, Bill Clinton's going to be laying in the casket, and when women walk by to look down upon him, he's going to open his eyes and go, "Hey, baby, you doing anything later?" Clinton is a horn dog. It's just like, let's just be honest about it. Bill Clinton is a horn dog. He always was a horn dog. It doesn't matter how old he is. That dog still wants to hunt. Okay? I'm sorry. It just, the boy's got the instinct and it ain't going away anytime soon. Yeah, boy. Anyway, so yes, we have heard from former President Clinton. Now, as far as other pictures that were released, WWG1 was mentioning this one. Here is Bill Clinton with the late Michael Jackson and the legendary Diana Ross. A couple of pictures have been, three images have been redacted in this. We also have Bill Clinton, Mick Jagger, and another one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. Now, look, allegedly, Mick Jagger has a very checkered history when it comes to interpersonal relations. Look, I got to be very careful about how I want to say this. Am I surprised that Mick Jagger was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, or maybe was at Jeffrey Epstein's island? No, if the allegations against Mick Jagger that have been handed down through the years are true, no, I am not surprised he'd be there. But the fact that, Mick Jagger's palling around with Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein, not surprising. We also have, there's a couple of three others here. Here's one for you. Now, here's somebody who definitely did not want this stuff coming out. Wow, he looks familiar. Okay, this is interesting. That looks like Bill Gates. Yep. Yep. And people wonder why his ex-wife Melinda divorced his rear end. There's another one, Jeffrey Epstein on the plane. I think is that Noam Chomsky? Okay, y'all got to help me out here. I swear in my brain that is Noam Chomsky. Legendary philosopher, scientist, PhD. I think it's Noam Chomsky, but y'all help me out if I'm wrong here. But I swear I think that's him. It is Chomsky. Okay. All right. And now there's a name that I was not aware had been associated with Jeffrey Epstein. But okay, the photos don't lie. So yeah, we got that. What else do we have here? Let's see. Now, Gypsy sent me this, and I did not know this. Did you guys? And this is kind of Epstein related. Did you guys know? You guys heard about the fact that Don Trump Jr. got engaged recently, right? You guys hear about this? If you heard about the fact that that Donald Trump Jr. recently got engaged at Mar-a-Lago, put an F in the chat. Let me know, because I want to make sure you guys are up on this. See, you come to the electronic front porch, you get news, you get social gossip, you get all kinds of stuff. It's all good here. Why people are not signing up in droves to become members of this channel, I have no idea. Okay, all right, yeah, all right. You did hear about the fact that he got engaged. Okay, appreciate that. Are you aware, however, that the young lady that he got engaged to has an Epstein connection? Gypsy sent me this, so check it out. New York Times reported this. Don Trump Jr. got engaged to a lady named Bettina Anderson. Her late father, the banker Harry Loy Anderson Jr., once wrote a glowing reference letter for Jeffrey Epstein back in the 90s, calling him, quote, a gentleman of the highest integrity to help with tax breaks in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Oh, my God. Good Lord. Now, that said, okay. That said, what? Well, apparently Don Jr. thinks she's hot. All right, you want to know? We'll find out. Hang on a minute. Never let it be said I didn't try to satisfy the curiosity of my audience members. One moment, please. Bettina Anderson. Let's see. Yeah, okay. All right. Hang on. Here's a
lost for words because we usually do the
video of the young lady. Hang on. And let's see here. All right, she's looking over at Don Jr. And okay, there you go. That's what she looks like. That's Bettina Anderson. Now, for you gentlemen in the audience, I'll let you make the determination on whether you think she's hot. A very attractive young lady. I'm not going to dispute that. And apparently in Don's eyes, she's the bee's knees. All right. Steady, Kawan. Steady on, my friend. Okay. Don't make me have to hand you a towel to wipe up the drool. Well, I guess, I guess. All right. Well, all right. All right. Her assets are not necessarily allocated as well as other ladies. I don't dispute that. I mean, but apparently Don Jr. thinks she's quite attractive. So, who am I to argue with the man? It's his life, but yeah, we got an Epstein connection this way. Now, again, should she be held responsible for what her father did? No, she's her own person. just now. I saw a question a little bit ago in chat, and I'm going to put this up here for the purposes of discussion. And WWG1 brings up a really good point. So far, none of the photos shown, with the exception of Bill Clinton, anyone doing anything wrong. Where are those pictures? Guys, I'm going to say something that you probably have already said this amongst yourselves, amongst friends around the water cooler or the coffee pot at work or at home or what have you. I got a bad feeling. No matter how much Congress, good people at the Justice Department, or whoever tries, we're never going to see the truly incriminating evidence of A, who's involved, or B, what they allegedly did. Okay. I mean, to me, and I'm not the one that's necessarily made this point originally, but I totally agree with it. The flight logs, the pictures, that's not what ought to be gone after here. I want to see the videotapes. Not in the sense I want to see them. I want it known who's on the videotapes, the recordings, the whatever, because hey, and again, there are people in this audience who are better versed on this subject than I am. But when the FBI and the Justice Department raided Jeffrey Epstein's house up in New York City, hundreds of thousands of recordings, tapes, compact discs, everything. Where's that stuff? Where is it? Has it been destroyed? Or has it been misfiled? I don't know. I mean, to WWG1's point, when do we start seeing, the pictures with the people involved who are doing things that were wrong? Tragically, I don't know if we're ever going to. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say, well, let's not try and pursue justice. By all means, let us pursue justice. Let's do the right thing here. But I don't know we're ever going to get there for a lot of reasons. And I think one of them is these people who are involved are very powerful, very influential. You have a Justice Department that is horribly corrupt and not made any better by Pam Bondi, by the way, or her deputy, Todd Blanche. Blanche shouldn't even be in the Justice Department as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, Robert, you're absolutely right. That stuff is gone. Absolutely gone. And good morning, brother. Good morning. And who else did I see popped in earlier? I didn't get a chance to say hello to him. Good morning, Miss Pate. Mwah. Love you, darling. Glad you are here. I mean, we're never going to see that stuff. Now, if this is true, Dershowitz's got a lot to answer for. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but if he's got all this stuff, let's see it. Oh, yeah, the victims. We got to protect Bill and Ehud. Yeah, like they're the victims. Whatever. So, yes, we've had the release of the Epstein files for what that's worth. Guys, and don't get me wrong. I said it a minute ago. I totally believe it. We ought to be pursuing justice. Jeffrey Epstein did not act alone. Okay. I have no doubt at all that there were individuals who did things to these young ladies that, if proven guilty, they ought to be introduced to the front end of a wood chipper, face first. But I don't know if we're ever going to get there. And it makes me sad. Because like I said, some of these SOBs deserve worse than what the law would give them. But I don't know if we're ever going to get there. I really don't. And it makes me sad. Because it goes back to something that everybody's talked about for the longest time. There's two systems of justice. There's the system of justice for folks like you and me, and then there's the system of justice for these people. that because of their wealth or their power or their connections or their whatever, they can do whatever they want and never suffer consequence. That, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why the American people want transparency on the whole Jeffrey Epstein saga. But I really do, in my heart of hearts, I believe one of them is the restoration of equal justice under the law. Maybe it's not expressed that way, but I really do believe that somewhere in the heart of all this is the burning desire of the American people to see equal justice performed to everyone, regardless of their wealth, their power, their station, their whatever. That Lady Justice treats all people equally. But I don't know if we're ever going to get there. I really don't. So it makes me sad. I mean, I don't begrudge, Thomas Massey or Ro Khanna or anybody or Marjorie Taylor Greene or anybody else who's been involved in this effort for years, because God knows the frustration they've got to be feeling right now. But it's just like, I don't know if we're ever going to get there. I just don't know. Anyway, so we got all that going on. That happened on Friday, or didn't happen, depending on how you look at it. What else do we have to talk about? Well, okay, let's get into this subject of, or I should say back into this subject of the Brown University shooting, because I got a ton of questions. I really do. I've got, and I need you guys to help me here, okay? Because either I'm not putting things together the way I should, or there's certain facts that I just don't know. Because none of this makes any sense to me. But before we get into that, let me do a real quick commercial, because we're almost to the bottom of the 11 o'clock hour. If you've happened on this live stream, yeah, that's a good way to put it, TBA. That's a real good way to put it. My brain is totally twisted up over this thing. And this is why I need some help from y'all this morning. Well, I always need help from you guys because you're way smarter than I am. But I need some help this morning because there's stuff I can't figure out. But before we do that, let me do a real quick commercial. For those of you wonderful folks over there on X who have found your way here this morning and you're checking us out for the very first time, number one, welcome in. And if you're on YouTube or you're on Rumble and you're here for the first time, hey, God love you. We're glad to have you here. Merry Christmas to all three platforms, to everybody who's on it right now that's watching. My name is Brian Trippett, and I am known in social media as the Front Porch Conservative. This live stream is called Front Porch Brunch. This is something we do on Saturdays. And we get together, we take some news items, we kind of chew on them for a little while. We talk about it. We give everybody some space to, let go their views, what have you. And, we try to laugh through it all. We try to smile through it all. We try to get down to some opinion through it all. And if this is your cup of tea or your glass of eggnog, as the case may be, well, then why don't you do me a favor? I've got a channel on Rumble and I got a channel on YouTube. Why don't you go ahead and subscribe on both places? It would really help me out a lot. And don't get me wrong, if you choose not to subscribe, I understand. But yeah, we'd love to have you as a follower of the channel. And while you're at it, hit the bell for notifications to make sure you're always aware when a new live stream or a new video is coming out. And we're going to get back to doing some videos in 2026, because I've got to modify some of what I'm doing here. So yeah, check out the videos, check out the live streams. And for today's purposes, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button if you're on YouTube or Rumble. And even if you're on Twitter, somehow, if there's a thumbs up button on Twitter, hit that while you're at it. Leave a comment, do all those things you do, share the link around, and help out this humble little host. Anyway, all right, let's get down to business. I don't understand the supposed resolution of this Brown University shooting situation. Allegedly, they found the killer. Okay. None of it, however, makes any sense. And yeah, Gypsy, I get it. She says, even my normie, 100% normie best friend tells me she doesn't believe the Brown narrative. Never thought I'd ever hear that. Well, but this goes to a point that you've been making, and other people on this live stream, who stop by to watch what we're doing, that a lot of people have been making now for years, and that is, people are waking up. I mean, however you want to term it, they're waking up. They're becoming white pilled or red pilled or whatever kind of pill you talk about. People aren't buying the narrative. They're asking, more importantly, they're asking questions. And not just folks like you or me who, we sift through the news and we're like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, to go back to Gypsy's point, here's a person in her life, 100% just, going along, minding their own business. They read the news, they, take it for what it's worth. They're not even buying it. Nobody's buying this. Oh, yeah, and that's a good way to put it. They are breaking out of the matrix. Slowly but surely, it's starting to happen. And it's not just, it's not just an issue of just, someone tells you a piece of information. It's not an issue that a lot of people now are being contrary just to be contrary. No, they're being contrary because they're saying, but what about this fact? And what about this fact? And what about this fact? And what about this fact? They're presenting information, and the people presenting the narrative don't know what to do with that. They don't know what to do with information being put back to them that either A, they didn't know about, or B, they didn't want people to find out about. That's why watching the press conferences at the campus of Brown University it's a lot of words you can use to describe the reaction to watching those press conferences, but one of them is satisfying. Because the reporters out in the audience were throwing facts up in the face of the police chief, the mayor, the attorney general, the college, the university president, and you could tell they didn't want to talk about it. That to me is a good sign. And not just for the institutional media. I mean, they're corrupted beyond all redemption. But I'm talking about for the new journalism, however you want to define that. I think it's a great sign that people, reporters, new journalists are asking questions, and people are like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So I thought we might this morning, because I don't understand there's parts of this I don't understand the tie-in, which we'll get to that here in a minute. Okay. So with that, let's go to a headline from Fox News. Speaking of institutional media. Headline: Claudio Manuel Neves Valente. Whew, what a name. Try and say that 10 times fast and not get tongue-tied doing it. Identified as Brown University and MIT shooting suspect found dead. Claudio Manuel Neves Valente is believed to have killed 2 students at Brown University before gunning down an MIT professor days later. All right, before we even get into this story, I have a question, and I'm serious about this one. I am serious. Can somebody explain to me the connection between this dude and the guy at MIT who was shot? Now, granted, that's probably my own fault for not, finding the articles and researching it fast enough to be able to put it together myself. But I don't get it. What was this guy's connection to the guy at MIT who got shot and killed? Somebody explain that to me, please. I'm dying to hear this. Yeah, well, and see, again, here's a good question. This is a great question. All the cell phone cameras that kids carry these days, why don't we see any pictures of the events at Brown? That's a great question. Absolutely great question. I mean, look, even if law enforcement had confiscated the cell phones of the young people who were inside that building, which, okay, you could see that as a possibility. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you could see it as a possibility. What about other students? You mean to tell me that, nobody caught a picture of this dude? Well, and here's another great question. The metadata from the cell phone towers? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, truly. Okay, so this goes back to your friend you were talking about earlier. Her name? Okay. Oh, you're talking to Lana. My friend only watches TV news, so I'm shocked. She told me she doesn't believe it. Honestly shocked. Yeah. Well, Robert, this is what they're saying. Supposedly, this guy did both killings, the Brown University students and this professor at MIT. Can somebody please explain to me? And I am serious about this. I'm genuinely serious asking this. I'm not asking it to be rhetorical. But can somebody explain to me what the shooter's connection was to the professor at MIT? Why would he want to kill him? What's the motive? What's the motive? I mean, and this goes to the frustration that folks like me and you and everybody else feels. The mainstream media, however you want to define that, plops out, or maybe it's better to say vomits out this story that this guy, who is now dead, by the way, so it's not like we're ever going to find out from him what he was thinking or doing. This guy not only kills 2 students at Brown University, but then also goes on to kill a professor over at MIT who, according to reports, was living in Boston, which not that far away from the campus of Brown University. So you can kind of see that. Okay. Proximity would allow him the opportunity, I suppose. But why? What's the connection? What's the motive? All right, he went berserk and killed some kids on the campus of Brown University. I think that's still dubious, but okay. Let's just say that's true. But why would you travel all the way from the campus of Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, down upper, well, be going up to Boston. I'm sorry, from up to Boston. Why would you travel up to Boston and go find this guy and kill him? Why? I don't understand this. I mean, why? Well, now here's an interesting thought. Maybe the narrative is purposefully being presented as cartoonish, if this is indeed the fact. Well, I guess my question is, if you're trying to make us wonder, are you trying to point us to something you want us to know? Or are you trying to just sow just that much more confusion so that we never find out? That's the only two things I can come to. If the narrative is being purposefully presented as that outlandish, to me that indicates one of two things. Either A, you're trying to goad us to go find out what the facts are, which why the institutional media would ever do that, I have no idea. Or you're trying to sow just that much more confusion so that we never find out. And that's quite possibly more of what's happening here. But anyway, let's get to this article. Written by, who wrote this? Michael Ruiz and Andrea Margolis for Fox News Digital. Dateline, Providence, Rhode Island. Authorities have identified the suspect in Saturday's mass shooting at Brown University, which left two students dead, 9 injured during a finals week review session, as the same man believed to have carried out the murder of a renowned nuclear scientist at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology days later. His name is Claudio Manuel Neves Valente, according to Providence police. He was found dead Thursday evening. Authorities announced at a press briefing Thursday evening after law enforcement officers in tactical gear were seen outside of a storage unit linked to Neves Valente in Salem, New Hampshire for hours. Okay. Neves Valente, 48, was a Portuguese national and studied at Brown from the fall of 2000 to the spring of 2001. He studied physics, according to Brown University's president, Christina Paxson. But he went on a leave of absence and ultimately withdrew in 2003. Okay, so we're talking a 20-year-old connection. A man with the same name was also terminated from a monitor position at the Instituto Superior Técnico in Portugal in 2000. Records show authorities said they believe he is the same person as the killer. That's the same university attended by the renowned MIT nuclear professor, physics professor Nuno Loureiro, who suffered a fatal gunshot wound on Monday at his home in Massachusetts, about 50 miles away from Boston. All right, let me read that again. So, Instituto Superior Técnico in Portugal is the same university attended by Nuno Loureiro, who was the gunshot victim in Massachusetts. Okay, so they attended the university at the same time in Portugal. All right, what's the connection? That is a connection, but why would that be enough to make this guy want to go kill him 20 years later? Rhode Island authorities said that the investigation was being handled by Massachusetts authorities, who would speak for themselves. Leah B. Foley, the U.S. attorney for the District of Massachusetts, later confirmed that Neves Valente was suspected in Loureiro's murder too. Quote, this evening at approximately 9 p.m., federal agents breached a storage locker in Salem, New Hampshire, in search of Claudio Neves Valente, a Portuguese national we believe shot and killed 2 Brown University students and MIT professor in Brookline, Massachusetts. Okay. She told reporters in a separate. Federal agents found Neves Valente dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Okay, so he committed suicide. The Brown shooting happened at 4 p.m. on Saturday at a finals week study session. Motive remains unclear. The investigation is ongoing, said Providence Mayor Brett Smiley. The building has long been hosted physics and engineering classes. Okay, fine. I think it's safe to assume that this man, when he was a student, spent a great deal of time in that building for classes and other activities as PhD students in physics. Has no current active affiliation with the university or campus presence. Okay. Detectives initially questioned a person of interest at a hotel outside of town, ruled him out. All right. Again, somebody explain to me the connection. Okay. So this guy and the MIT professor attended the same university in Portugal 20 years earlier. Okay. So what happened? Well, all right. Possible. What and that sort of begs the question. Was the alleged shooter a student of this guy who was killed, or were they contemporaries at the same time? And I'm not saying you're wrong, Robert, but I'm just asking the question. Well, that 25, yeah. If you were pissed off at the guy, really, you waited 25 years to go kill him? I think that's a fair question. Let's see, what else do we have here? We are being trained to not believe what we hear without thinking first. Okay. TBA says the assumption that the news media is supposed to tell you the truth doesn't hold true. That's what this is all about. Getting you to do your own research. Okay. Gypsy says, it's very curious how bad this narrative is. I am sure there's a good reason. We just have not put it together yet. True. I read the day after MIT guy was shot, Trump partner with Putin on nuclear energy. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, this is just bizarre. Just totally bizarre. Now, also another thing that I find really interesting. The alleged shooter commits murder in Rhode Island, travels north to commit murder in Massachusetts, has his storage building up in New Hampshire. Now, granted, the proximity of those three states to each other, given the amount of territory, it wouldn't take you long to get from one place to another. I get that. And I also get why you would spread it out that far. But still, it just all seems just bizarrely weird. Again, I am, yeah, really, so many murders, so little time. Robert says means and opportunity could account for the time differential. He had just killed several people. Why not settle an old grudge as well? Well, but okay, but that gets to another question. Let's assume for a moment, okay? Let's assume for a moment that his primary target, this gentleman, this man named, Neves Valente. Let's assume for a moment that his primary target was this MIT professor. Okay. Let's just, for the sake of argument, the MIT professor was killed on a Monday at his home in Boston. Okay. Then why kill the kids at Brown University? Is it to make everybody look in one direction while you're off doing something else? Possible, I suppose. But why involve these students at Brown University? If the primary target, or even the reverse of that question, okay? Or even the reverse of that question. Let's assume for a moment that the kids at Brown University were the primary target. Why? Again, I go back to my original question. What's the motive to go after this professor? I mean, I think Robert might be onto something, and I'm not saying he's wrong. Maybe he had an old score to settle with this guy. Maybe this guy, when he was at MIT, gave the alleged shooter a bad grade or somehow done something to snub him academically. How are these two events and this one man connected together? That's what I want to know. And supposedly, and let me see if it's in this article or not. Because supposedly they found a treasure trove, an absolute treasure trove of stuff at this locker. Is it mentioned in this article, or is it? Okay, not so much mentioned here. Now we've got some other stuff related to this. And by the way, did you guys hear how the authorities blew this case wide open? They had help, and this is an even more wild aspect to me. Yeah, a Brown University witness who lived at the building where the shooting took place. Now, I'm being a little bit facetious here. Well, hello, Zippy. Oh my Lord. Where have you been, you mangy old cat? You frolicking feline. Where have you been? Oh my goodness. So glad to have you here in the house this morning. Extra catnip for you. That's all I'm saying. Robert says one possible take. He's a failed student. He resents current students, former professor. Well, okay. All right. Interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, the FBI and the police departments had help from a homeless guy. Now, y'all think I'm kidding about this. Y'all think I'm kidding. Okay. Y'all think I'm kidding about this. But that is in part how this got started. Okay, let me see. Did I Tell me I didn't. Yeah. Here's a story from Fox News. Check this out. Let me listen to this. This is wild.
Open by a homeless man who goes by John. Now, investigators say that he's a former Brown University student who grew suspicious of the gunman when he locked eyes with him in the bathroom just 2 hours before the shooting inside the Barris and Holly building. The gunman, his name is Claudio Neves Valente. Now, John, pictured here, is the man police were looking to speak to because of how close he got to that gunman. John said he followed Neves Valente out of the building before the shooting and played a game of cat and mouse in the neighborhood. Surveillance video shows Neves Valente running away from John. At one point, he stood just feet away from the gunman and questioned why he was circling the block. The gunman repeatedly responded, quote, "Why are you harassing me?" When police released images of the suspect after the shooting, John wrote an anonymous Reddit post describing seeing the gunman unlock a parked gray Nissan sedan with Florida plates he thought could be a rental. 3 days after the shooting, John anonymously called the police tip line and flagged his own Reddit post. On Wednesday, John walked up to police, revealed that he was the man police were looking for, that he was close to the gunman, and that the Reddit post came from him. Police used license plate readers to track the gray Nissan to an Alamo car rental center in Boston. They pulled surveillance images showing Neves Valente, and they traced him to a storage facility in Salem, New Hampshire, where he was found dead last night. Now, Neves Valente was spotted in the Brown University building on November 28th. That's 2 weeks before the shooting. Last night, I asked investigators how it could be that a homeless man and not police noticed a suspicious person in that time.
Well, the Providence Police is obviously not going to patrol Barris and Holly. That's a question for, frankly, for Brown and their police department.
Why would a civilian observe that to be suspicious? It's a great point. And I like the fact that you're mentioning that and bringing that up. That's what we should all be doing, right? And it's just personality. Some people are more interested in finding out what others are doing. In this particular case, this person decided that he wanted to, and I'm glad he did.
A source tells Fox that John is a homeless man who actually lives in the basement of the Barris and Holly building. And while that brings up a whole slew of security questions, the reality is he's being treated as a hero.
Okay, and I don't dispute the fact that the guy deserves to be treated as a hero. If he brought information that helped capture this guy or help find this, crack the case, okay, fine. But, and you bring up a really good point. Homeless people usually keep to themselves. They don't go around chatting up people on the streets, or in this case, accosting them. Yeah, that meme was pretty accurate. I mean, so a homeless guy is living in the basement of one of the academic buildings on Brown University, happens to see this guy, starts thinking to himself, "You look suspicious," starts following said dude, and sees that the guy is walking around the neighborhood or casing the building, accosts him, says, "Why are you circling this block?" The alleged perpetrator says, "Why are you accosting me?" The homeless guy posts something on Reddit, which begs the question, did he have his own personal computer? Did he use a computer lab? He's got a Reddit account. I mean, this is just bizarre. And again, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but it's just the way this story lays out, it's crazy. Just straight crazy. Yeah, the movie is called With Honors. Great film, by the way, and one of Joe Pesci's best works. Don't get me wrong, Brendan Fraser's great in the movie. Joe Pesci is amazing. Go watch if you want to watch something for the holidays with your family, go get With Honors. Well, people are hoping that he does. I do. I don't know if he has yet or not. Yeah, there's a scary part. But I mean, again, none of this makes any sense. And again, I'm not trying to be naive Nancy here, but this is bizarre. The cops, the FBI, the state police, the Brown University police, nobody can find anything about this guy until a homeless guy calls a tip line to tell them about a post he put on Reddit 3 days earlier and says, here's all the information you need to track this dude. I mean, seriously. Yeah, thank you. I could not remember the name of the movie, but yeah, it's called Real Genius. Another great movie, one of Val Kilmer's earliest works. Great film, by the way. Funny as all get out. But yeah, this is just absolutely bizarre. Yeah, well, you know, the way things are going, WWG1, you may not be wrong, my friend. Now, Jesse Waters, and don't get me, under normal circumstances, I am not prone to give folks at Fox News a lot of credit, but I give Jesse Waters a little bit of credit for having intellectual curiosity. Remember what I said about, you know, a homeless guy living under a building at Brown University is enough to cause a whole bunch of other questions. Okay. Watch this.
Law enforcement officials is being identified as a homeless person who was living in or around that Brown University building that we're all talking about at Barris and Holly, graduated from Brown University at 2010, had a confrontation with the shooter before the shooting itself happened.
This homeless eyewitness blew open this whole case. From there, they ran the plates, picked up the suspect's car at least 14 times in the vicinity around December 1st. And the car pinged at Brown the morning of the shooting and then was spotted outside of the home of the MIT professor right before he died. And the last ping led investigators to the Salem storage facility where they recovered the car and found the gunman dead. Now, this is just in. The New York Times is reporting that the autopsy showed Valente died from a gunshot wound to the head and an apparent suicide on Tuesday. So one of the biggest murder mysteries in the country was solved thanks to a homeless guy who lived at the scene of the crime.
Hold it. I have a question. And this just hit me. So the Brown University murders get committed on a Saturday. He shoots this guy on a Monday. And according to police, the alleged shooter was dead on Tuesday by self-inflicted suicide. I have a question. When he shot himself at the storage building, did no one, hear a sound? Did no one check it out? I mean, again, could be there was nobody around to hear the sound of the gunshot wound or the gunshot going off that killed the alleged killer. But really? Guy shoots himself in a storage building in Salem, New Hampshire, and this is reported to nobody? Really? I mean, good God. All right, back to Jesse Waters' comments.
Did Brown University know there was a homeless graduate living in the engineering building? If they did know, why didn't they send investigators to interview him? If they didn't know a homeless guy was living in the engineering building, then that's a massive security breach. I'm not sure what's worse, them knowing or not knowing. We hope homeless John gets the 50 G's because he deserves the reward. Isn't it interesting that the public helped crack this case? Because for a week, investigators were yelling at the public.
You know, again, I think it's just a really dangerous road to go down. It's just a dangerous thing to do. And I would leave it to us to identify persons of interest and let us run them down.
Leave it to you. You arrested the wrong man.
Okay. So you got a homeless guy living in the basement of a physics building on the campus of Brown University. He himself is a former student. Why was he living in the basement? What, a janitor didn't notice him down there or something? Was he working as a janitor? Because that might explain it. Maybe the guy was living there, working in the building, and that was his area to sleep in or whatever, and he had some kind of arrangement with Brown University. Okay, fine. But laying that aside, you got a homeless guy living in the basement of an academic building on Brown University. Either Brown University knew about it and didn't care, or they didn't know about it, which may even be worse. This guy apparently has been living there for years. And I will say this. Brown University better thank whatever God it prays to, assuming it acknowledges the existence of God, better pray to whatever God it worships, that this homeless guy living in the basement didn't go nuts himself and start killing some people. But all the investigative work of the police department on the campus of Brown University, the city police of Providence, Rhode Island, the state police of Rhode Island, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, nobody can do anything until a homeless guy comes along, calls a tip line, and says, oh, by the way, 3 days ago, I posted on Reddit my story about this dude. You better check him out. And again, nothing against this gentleman named John, the man who posted on Reddit, the allegedly, homeless guy. But this is just, I don't get it. And again, I come back to the question that I started with. What's the connection between the alleged shooter and this MIT professor? Again, and Robert may be spot on with this, maybe absolutely spot on with this. Maybe the alleged shooter was a former student of this gentleman when they were in Portugal. He held a grudge for all these years. And, he comes to America to off the guy. But that begs the question, then why did you involve the students at Brown? Well, apparently I haven't. Well, and this Gypsy, this is a great question. Let's talk about the homeless guy for a minute. You need keys to get into these buildings these days. Well, that sort of begs the question, if electronically keys are changed periodically, how'd the homeless guy get a key to get in and out of the building? None of this makes any sense. Now, let's go to this alleged shooter for a second. I'm not convinced. Oh, come on, Brian. I can hear you now. You're saying it. Come on, Brian, give me a break. They've got the plates on the car. They've got, the story from the homeless guy. They got everything else. Oh, yeah? Really? Then explain this. Somebody explain this to me from WPRI.com, which is a news station out of Providence, Rhode Island. Okay. Let me enlarge this so you guys can read it better. Headline: Guns, body armor, phone seized from storage unit where Brown suspect died. Story written by Eli Sherman and Tim White. We've got the following. Law enforcement is analyzing a tranche of new evidence recovered from the New Hampshire storage building where agents found the dead suspect in the Brown University and MIT slang. Target 12 is learned. Now, this is a local news station out of Providence. Okay. Federal officials are hopeful the evidence could shed light on what motivated Claudio Manuel Nueves Valente to kill 2 people and injure 9 more and then kill MIT professor Nuno Lorio inside his Brookline, Massachusetts home. Okay, well, this story was written, yesterday? Okay. Law enforcement still doesn't even know what the motive was for this guy, but they're calling him the killer. How do you know this guy's the killer if you don't even know what the motive is? But I digress. Oh, you're just being a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm asking logical questions that everybody's asking the more they hear about this. I'm not doing, look, not that I'm trying to make myself a martyr here. I'm not doing anything other than asking purely logical questions that anybody would ask if they hear the information being presented in these stories. And like a lot of people, I'm not getting any satisfactory answers. All right, back to this story. Evidence included 2 9mm pistols, more than 200 rounds of ammo, multiple high-capacity magazine, body armor, various IDs, multiple phones, and thumb drives, according to Massachusetts U.S. Attorney Leah Foley. Investigators now believe Neves Valente may have been wearing body armor when he committed the murders across 2 states. There's a mound of evidence, Foley said, adding that the investigation into what happened doesn't end just because Neves Valente is now dead. Okay. But there's one part of this story that I don't get, and here's going to be a problem. Okay. Now, notice what it says here. New Hampshire's chief medical officer said Friday in an autopsy that Neves Valente died of a gunshot wound to the head. Manner of death was suicide, estimated to have died on December 16th. Okay, that's 4 days ago. Go a little further into this article. Okay. Let me find it. Hang on just a second. Hold on. I just saw this a minute ago. Hang on, folks. I'm looking for something. There's something very... Here it is. The estimated time of death conflicts with a Rhode Island police affidavit, which reports that Neves Valente called a car rental agency at a Connecticut airport to change a drop-off location. Rhode Island Attorney General Peter Niroha's spokesman Tim Rondo said that was bad intelligence. Bad information was provided to us. We learned that the info was bad after we already submitted the affidavit. Really? Really? The time of death conflicts with a Rhode Island police affidavit, reports Neves Valente called a car rental agency at Connecticut airport to change the drop-off location. Rhode Island Attorney General said that was bad intelligence. So we've already got conflicting information. I don't get it, folks. I don't get it. What's the connection between the shooter and this dead MIT professor? If the dead MIT professor was the primary target, then why would you involve the kids down at Brown University? Were they a diversion? What was their purpose in all this? I just have a lot of questions. And again, I am not trying to be anything other than a reasonable, logical asking person. Okay. What's the connection? I don't get it. I don't get it. And again, I'm like you guys. Lana says, Brian, I'm telling you, the Massachusetts State Police are both corrupt as hell and incompetent. I know of a case where they missed 30,000 text messages in the murder of a young woman groomed by the police. Jeez, oh, Pete. She was in the Explorers program, was groomed and passed around by several officers. She was murdered, and her death was ruled a suicide until her family pressed the FBI to get involved. Wow. Massachusetts State Police didn't apparently see 30,000 text messages between her and the cop she was involved with. Her name was Sandra Birchmore. Jeez, oh, Pete. Jeez. All right, let's see what comes out in the coming days. But I'll make you a prediction right now. We're never going to hear another thing about this story. Not another word. We will not hear a thing. Nothing. Not a thing. They've got their man. They got the story. They put it out there. And we will never hear another word about this. You watch. You watch. Tragic, really. Just tragic. All right. It is 10 minutes after 12. Let us move quickly to what I call HodgePodge 2. Now, for those of you out there on X or YouTube or Twitter or or Rumble or wherever you may be, HodgePodge Stew are those collection of stories that kind of fly under the radar, but yeah, they ought to be talked about. And sometimes I find them, sometimes they're submitted, and we kind of put them together at the end of the live stream to like get people talking and asking questions. And before I get to that, Zippy says the news media jumps from trend to trend. They can't milk for long. It'll take months for any real info to come out. Zippy, I'm wondering if any real info comes out ever. But anyway, to HodgePodge Stew. This one was submitted by Gypsy. And here's a story from Hamtramck, Michigan. Hamtramck. And you know what? This is a story from a local ABC affiliate. You ain't going to believe this one. You're not going to believe this. Check it out.
According to the ordinance, quote, the owning, keeping, or harboring of pigs, horses, cows, sheep, goats, llamas, domestic fowl, outdoor rabbits is prohibited, and this section does not apply for temporary religious sacrificial purposes as permitted by law.
Our city is dirty enough. We don't want to make more dirty.
Debates raged on for at least 3 hours at Hamtramck City Hall over the new ordinance of sacrificing animals.
Really ridiculous, catastrophic resolution.
If it's not passed, then we are ready to take it to the court for the religious rights. It is constitution.
This was the second debate of the new ordinance, and there was a crowd outside of the City Hall chambers filling out cards to speak, and they were watching it on closed-circuit TV.
No, it's not safe or sane or humane because basements or kitchens or backyards are not suitable places for live animal slaughter.
Many people, including Muslim residents, were against it, citing sanitary concerns if the animals are sacrificed in a home and not in a sterile environment, especially in the tight-knit neighborhoods of Hamtramck. The ordinance that was passed on Tuesday night says religious sacrificing of animals can be done as long as it is done legally and humanely.
I think it's the best compromise. We don't want to restrict religious freedoms, and we don't want to keep it random without regulations.
Many Muslims pay a butcher to perform the religious sacrifice, but for some families, it's just not practical, says Nawar Ali with CARE Michigan.
A lot of families will typically do it in the confines of their property, like in their backyard, their garage, and again, dispose of the animal accordingly.
So, in Hamtramck, Michigan, animal sacrifice is permitted on the grounds of religious freedom. Okay. All right. That's a new one. Wow. So yeah, if you have a goat you want to sacrifice out in the backyard and put it on the altar and burn it, there you go. TBA, don't ask that. Do not ask that. Look, there are some questions, and your mom and dad taught you this as much as my mom and dad taught me. There are some moments in life, there are some questions you should not ask because you might get an answer that you're not planning on. I'm just saying, brother, this is one of those moments. Oh boy. Yeah, I noticed that too. So, I guess. I mean, yeah. I mean, the way that city council vote to allow animal sacrifice for religious purposes in City of Hamtramck. Yeah, yeah. It's just wow. Shoo boy. Yep. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Anyway. And I gotta thank. Oh, who sent me this? Hang on a minute. Now I'm losing my mind here. Having an old man moment. Gotta thank Professor Tie Dye for sending me this one. And if you're out there in the audience, brother, thank you for this because I genuinely do appreciate it. Do you guys remember that judge up in Milwaukee, Hannah Dugan, that got in trouble for obstructing ICE agents who were trying to come into a building and remove someone? Well, she had her day in court, and she lost. A headline from Fox News: Milwaukee County judge found guilty of obstructing federal immigration agents in courthouse incident. Milwaukee Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan was found guilty of helping man avoid ICE agents at courthouse in April. Article by Michael Sinkowitz. We have the following. A jury found Milwaukee Judge Hannah Dugan guilty of obstructing federal immigration agents during an attempt to serve a warrant at a courthouse earlier this year. She faces up to 5 years in prison on the felony obstruction count. Dugan was arrested in April after helping Eduardo Flores Ruiz avoid plainclothes ICE agents who were trying to serve him a warrant. Prosecutors said Dugan helped Flores Ruiz and his attorney exit her courtroom through a back door on April 18th after learning that ICE agents were in the building to arrest him. Quote, while we're disappointed in today's outcome, the failure of the prosecution to secure convictions in both counts demonstrates the opportunity that we have to clear Judge Dugan's name and show she did nothing wrong in this matter. Dugan's defense team said in a statement, we have planned for this potential outcome, and our defense of Judge Dugan was just beginning. Trials require considerable resources to prepare for, and public support for Judge Dugan's defense fund is crucial as we prepare for the next phase of the defense. The jury reached the guilty verdict after 6 hours of deliberation, though Dugan was acquitted on a misdemeanor count of concealing an individual to prevent arrest. Interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Wisconsin, Brad Schimmel, reacted to the verdict, saying Dugan is certainly not evil, nor is she a martyr for some greater cause. This is a criminal case like many that make their way through the court every day, and we all must accept the verdict peacefully. So there you go. She's been found guilty. Now, whether she's ever going to see a day in jail, no idea. But she has been found guilty. In April, Judge Dugan was suspended without pay, a roughly $175,000 a year salary by the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. It is unclear if the court will make any changes to her employment status in the wake of the verdict, given the defense is expected to appeal the decision. So there you go. Justice gets served. Justice gets served. All right. Moving on to a subject that is near and dear to the hearts of a lot of folks in this audience. Some good news. Some real good news, I think. Don't know if you guys heard about this or not, but from USA Today, RFK Jr. moves to restrict gender-affirming care for minors. This headline just sucks. Absolutely sucks. Article by Aaron Mansfield and Rebecca Morin of USA Today News. We have the following. The Trump administration is moving to make it harder for hospitals to provide gender-affirming care for children to stop medical devices manufacturers from marketing breast binders to children and to stop gender dysphoria from being protected under federal law. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said in a press conference on Thursday, signed a declaration saying that, quote, sex-rejecting procedures are neither safe nor effective treatment for children with gender dysphoria. Kennedy said that the Department of HHS is starting an administrative process to prohibit hospitals to provide children with sex-rejecting procedures from participating in Medicare and Medicaid, a move that would affect virtually every hospital in the United States. Kennedy said that the administration will attempt to stop Medicare from funding, quote, sex-rejecting procedures, a move that could have ripple effects nationwide because commercial insurance companies generally choose what to reimburse based on Medicaid or Medicare policies. The FDA is also sending a warning letter to 11 manufacturers of breast binders, telling them not to market these devices to children. Kennedy said, the devices are designed for women recovering from breast cancer surgery, not for children. Quote, so-called gender-affirming care is inflicting lasting physical and psychological care on vulnerable young people. This is not medicine. It is malpractice. And my response to that is good on you, RFK Jr. Good on you. So there's that piece of good news. As a matter of fact, let me drop that one. And frankly, there are better articles than this, but let me drop this right now in the chat on Rumble and YouTube. One moment, please. And there we go. Let me take a quick sip of something here. Okay. Oh, in a similar vein, House passes Marjorie Taylor Greene's anti-trans bill. God, I love these headlines. Again, let me drop this in chat on Rumble and on YouTube, among other places. So yeah, let's take a look at this real quick. The House passed a bill Wednesday sponsored by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican of Georgia, that would criminalize gender-affirming procedures and medical care for minors. It's not what it does, people. Greene had secured a deal with leadership to bring her bill to the floor in exchange for her support of a rule advancing the National Defense Authorization Act. The bill passed 216 to 211. 3 Democrats, Representative Henry Cuellar, Democrat Texas, Don Davis, Democrat North Carolina, and Vicente Gonzalez, Democrat of Texas, voted with most Republicans in favor. 4 Republicans, Mike Lawler, Brian Fitzpatrick, Gabe Evans, and Mike Kennedy, voted with most Democrats against it. Quote, children are not experiments, no more drugs, no more surgeries, no more permanent harm. We need to let kids grow up without manipulation from adults to make life-altering decisions. Congress must protect America's children, Greene wrote on the social media platform X ahead of the vote. Now, got a long ways to go. The Senate has still got to do something with this, but some good movement is being made in those areas, and my hat's off to Marjorie Taylor Greene, Robert Kennedy Jr., and a whole bunch of other people. Whole bunch of others. Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. And I do not have an answer for that. Generally, an article is going to get written, then it's going to be handed off to the editors and typesetters, if there even is still such a thing, to come up with the headline for the article. But when that separation took place, no idea. That's probably decades ago. Yeah, that's probably true. Probably true too. But yeah, I'd say that practice has been going on for decades, if not longer. All right. We're down to one of my favorite points. And I want to thank those who sent this in. It is the Christmas season after all. And I thought it might be nice to end with an old tradition. By old tradition, I mean for as long as we've been doing it here. And put a little something in the background while we do it. So hopefully you can hear this over. You can hear this in the background while I'm doing what I'm doing here. And I got to thank WWG1 for that. So with that, here we go. This census first took place when Quirinius was governing Syria. So all went to be registered, everyone to his own city. Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed wife, who was with child. And so it was, while they were there, the days were completed for her to be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, wrapped in swaddling clothes, laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. Now there was in the same country shepherds abiding in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. And behold, an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were greatly afraid. And the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For those of you born this day in the city of David is a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. And this will be a sign unto you. You will find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, laying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace and goodwill toward men." And so it was, when the angels was gone away into them into heaven, that the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go into Bethlehem and see this thing which is come to pass, which the Lord has made known unto us." And they came with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the babe lying in a manger. And when they had seen him, they made it widely known the saying which was told to them concerning this child. And all those who heard it marveled at those things which they were told by the shepherds. But Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things that they had heard and that they had seen, as it had been told unto them. Want to do one more thing as we get ready to roll out the door. Give me 1 second here, folks. Oh, they probably will, and I'll probably have to delete this out later, but you know what? I'll deal with it. Kind of carrying on an old tradition by one of my heroes, Rush Limbaugh. You might recognize the music in the background. I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm pretty sure you'll catch on to what it is here in a minute. This is live stream, and I would be remiss if I didn't say a few words to you guys. I want to thank you for everything. I did this for 2005, for the laughs, the interviews, the comments, the suggestions, things, everything. So spread the word about this little thing that I do, and I cannot thank you enough. You guys are totally awesome. Ship City. Oh, it is? Oh, sorry to hear that. probably because of the way I'm doing this. But low in the background. You guys are totally awesome. Thank you for everything. Next year, like I said, because of some effort on my part to try to improve my health. And by the way, I'm not in horrible condition here. I don't have cancer. I don't have any serious medical problems. I've got like starting out health, get healthier, so I can keep on doing this and other things. But we're going to change the format ever so slightly in that more videos. I'll try to do them through the week if mind, body, and time allow me. And then we're going to be doing one live stream. This going to be this one on the weekends. So, you know, it's the end of the year, and you guys are totally awesome. Well, yeah, I thought it was appropriate after the conversation the other night. But, you know, I'm not in horrible health. Straight enough things to think. And that takes a lot. But anyway, meanwhile, to all of you, who wherever you may be out there, thank you ever so much for being part of this audience. Thank you for all you do to make this little channel go. And I can't thank you enough. Guys are amazing. I'm blessed and gifted to have all of you around. So, for the remaining days ahead, may you guys have a very Merry Christmas. May you guys have a wonderful New Year. And I'll catch up with you guys in January. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything. You guys, I love you guys very much. I mean, I say it all the time, but I genuinely do. I love you guys very much. So with that, Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year to you all, and have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you in 2026, guys. I love you. Bye-bye.